Especially because,
And
like, this
go
angle doesn't
live.
look good. Like, I don't have a good backdrop here. I have this crazy-looking doll and this thing to help keep the light from coming in.
If you go, like, more into the light, you can just become a mysterious silhouette.
Yeah.
There you go.
And,
You
yeah.
won't have any idea.
Put me all the way over there. I hate this window.
Well, it hates you, too.
All it does is it lets in spiders.
Oh my gosh.
Spiders are fun.
I heard an ad and it freaked me out.
I got an ad also.
Look, my other monitor is turning back on again. Anyway, sorry. Is the podcast live?
It is.
It's live!
I'm so angry!
Jesse, you made me freaking green
It
again.
is green.
You have to switch to the other camera so you can see how well it
I don't
is.
want to be green!
I'll be green with you. It's fine. We can be green together.
No. Okay, all right. So the other camera.
Don't do this at home, kids.
See how well that is?
Nope.
Look how good that is.
Let's wait. I gotta wait for the stream to catch up.
That is
I
like
can't see
perfect.
anything.
It is perfect. It's like only his skin, not his hair, not his jacket.
1 second. I haven't even tried loading the stream yet. I just tried opening YouTube.
It is perfect.
Hulk activated. There's actually a lot of things in the background that are still green.
Yeah.
The stream finally caught up, and it's.
See,
It's
I don't think of
something
Shrek when I see Daniel Green. For some reason, I think of Elphaba from Wicked.
I'm. I'm radioactive.
You're defying gravity.
Okay, take this green business off of me.
All right.
Okay, excellent.
Next week we'll have a game of who else is green. Do you remember
Not
when we
me.
could not? Like, I tried for hours and I just could not turn Tubes green, so we decided she was a vampire.
I mean,
yeah.
that sounds accurate. I don't deny nor confirm it.
Yeah, I guess we're ready. So the way Daniel recommended this thing, because we don't really have too much news, there's like 2 things, and one's a rumor, and then I thought it would be fun if we each read one of the negative or mid-level reviews on Metacritic for Skyward Sword, like we did for a few videos about the games.
Oh yeah.
That way
Are we gonna review the reviews?
Yeah, like we
We're
did
reviewing
the
the
one time. So
review.
just like one each, and then because like last time there's people, it's like it's not HD, it sucks, or the motion controls are horrible, it needs normal controls. So
Right.
I thought it would be interesting to see if it's the same complaints 10 years later, or if people, yeah.
That
Skyward Sword HD is not HD.
knowing our capacity for just talking, that very well, might just take us the whole
No.
like 2 hours.
No, we're just gonna do one each. They're kind of short as well. So-
Yeah, but we might have a lot to say. That also depends if Kayla will join us back in this dimension of darkness and not overexposed sunlight. Oh, she's back.
Sorry. That's a little better.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hylian Gamescast, episode 136. Before we get started, we're going to give a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. Shiloh, who joined a few days ago. That was the one who sent me the link, Daniel, to that, I think it was Best Buy, for the Breath of the Wild 2 thing. That was weird.
Right.
Yeah. Lorenzo, David, Super NX64, Manboy Cave, Gus, Jesse, Shadow to Us, Lovable Christy, Natsu, Justin, Monica, Laurulian, Andrame. I always get confused on that one. Rusty, Mr. Monoclad, Metroid, Zoe, Candy, Ashton, KRS7, Blargnar, Chad, Derek, Durin, Jen, SoberX, Brandon, and Ingrid. And I've seen a few of them in the live chat already. So we have the full podcast here. Daniel. Hi.
Jesse. Hi.
Chibalima.
Hi. How y'all doing?
Geek Apprentice.
It's an all bent.
There was one comment I try to make sure to do that at the beginning, even though like we did it at first, and I'm pretty sure by now everyone that watches knows who everyone is, so sometimes I don't do it. But then there was a comment one time from someone like a week or so ago who said they couldn't tell the difference between Daniel and I. And I'm like, how can you... Are our voices that similar? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a weird one.
Yeah. Anyways, today we have something really fun that we haven't done in a while. Daniel suggested that we do Triforce Trivia, which is where we go through a few questions, and whoever gets the most of them right gets to be the Nintendo World Champion on the Discord. Yeah, and everyone in the chat can try out as well. So yeah, let's start with our first piece of news. The rumored Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles are reportedly being added really soon to Switch Online. This comes from Nintendo Wire. On a recent episode of Nate the Hate podcast, credible leaker and insider Nate Drake discussed rumors that new legacy content would be coming to Nintendo Switch Online. In this episode of the podcast, mentions the fact that he has heard from his sources that Switch Online's catalog will be expected in the near future with new systems. So it starts with Game Boy and Game Boy Color, but then it says new systems. So I don't know if that's suggesting that Game Boy and Game Boy Color and then more coming later, which is what we all thought was kind of going to happen. But yeah, what do you guys think of this? Are there any Game Boy games or Game Boy Color games that you would like to see coming on the Switch?
Warlocked.
Warlocked?
I don't know that one. What's Warlocked?
It was like this weird like Game Boy game that I used to play, and it almost had like an Age of Empires kind of feel to it, where you kind of like building up your armies and like attacking people. It used to be my jam when I was younger. I used to play it all the time. That and Pokemon trading card game.
That's not just the actual Pokemon games. You want the Pokemon trading card game to come to Switch?
Are these games that you played on the actual Game Boy?
No,
or...
it had to be the trading card game. You're not allowed to play this. What?
Jesse really just went, no more. No more.
I don't want to listen to Shoobs.
He asks you a question and he's like, no, I will not hear the answer.
No. I thought she was talking about it had to be the card game. And then these are loud enough to where like I can take it off and I can still hear. I should probably
so you can hear, so I'll just like smack talking you.
Ridiculing you.
Sorry, I played a lot of Game Boy growing up, so for me, Game Boy was one of those, like, anytime we went traveling, my dad would always buy us, like, the newest console to keep us distracted.
Oh, nice.
So when I was younger, I remember him buying us the Game Boy Color, and I got the blue one. My brother got the green one. And I played the heck out of Tasmanian Devil. And yeah, really hard. Elmo's 1, 2, 3. That game still haunts me to this day. I never beat it. Warlocked. Pokemon, obviously, but we don't need to go there. And there's another weird one that I used to... Oh, Harvest Moon on Game Boy was also really good.
I have to wonder, because you brought up Pokemon, if the Pokemon Company would even allow it. But
I don't know.
On the Nintendo 3DS for the 20th anniversary, I think, they did I think it was Pokemon Yellow or something like that. They put it on the 3DS eShop for people to purchase.
That's cool.
Yeah, Tubes.
Sorry. I forgot one more game that I really liked, which is Wario Land.
Oh, what was Wario Land like on the Game Boy?
There were just like lots of puzzles, and the music was like really like dark and kind of eerie. I don't really remember the storyline of it, but I just remember that game being really weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I want to say...
I noticed,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I just noticed a lot of people in the chat suggesting games, and I think we need to clarify for people in the chat that this specifies Game Boy and Game Boy Color,
yes,
not Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
So a lot of people are suggesting games
different.
like Metroid Fusion and Advance Wars and all these others. But those would be, yeah, and Mother 3 was another one, which all would be great. But it doesn't mention anything about Game Boy Advance. So just to clarify for people in the chat here. But Jesse, go ahead with what you were gonna say.
So you said Mother 3. This is gonna go off topic for like 4 seconds.
Okay.
You know how Mother 3 had a very similar development cycle as Zelda 64. Started out on the disk drive, went to the normal system, and then went to the Game Boy Advance. What if Ocarina of Time would have done that, where it went from this 3D game like Mother 3 was to everything just being in 2D pixels like Mother 3? Because it literally had the exact same path, except it seemed like they just kept trying on Zelda, where on Mother 3 they were like, let's just put it on the Game Boy. That way, I assume it was quicker to do and easier. I don't know. Anyways, that was just something in my head. But in the thumbnail of this video, I have one of the Oracle games, because I think as great as it is to go back and play the NES and SNES games, I haven't played all the way through Oracle of Ages, I think. So I would like that. I think it's Seasons is the one that I played through, the one with the kangaroo. That's mostly puzzles. Yeah. That would be the one that I would look forward to. And there was some interesting Mario and Donkey Kong games on there as well. The first Final Fantasy would be cool too.
Sorry.
Are we both? I think we're both laughing at the same thing.
What is it?
Totally are.
Just someone's username. Just,
Yeah, I wonder if it's the one I was looking at.
It's a very unique username.
It's very much 10-year-old boy humor.
It is. It's
I mean, I was laughing in my head
Caitlin
too.
and I were
That's
laughing.
like an insult.
It's
a gut.
I was like fully ready to hold back the laughter, and then I saw Caitlin just losing it, and it just.
Okay.
But
yeah. My first Game Boy experience. I sadly no one purchased a Game Boy for me when we went on long trips, but I did trade a stack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards when I was in 6th grade to this guy that became one of my good friends for about 10 years. And I got Final Fantasy, the original, on Game Boy, and a couple of other games that I forgot what were, but it was really great. Really, really, really weird, but really good. Because no, it was Final Fantasy 2, I think. It was either 1 or 2, but it was weird. Because you'd get partners, and it'd be like, you can have this frog as a partner. And at the time, I had just come off of playing Final Fantasy X, where it's like, your partners are like, you can summon giant aeons and stuff, like giant beasts and monsters from space. And then here's this frog. And I'm like, okay, I guess this works.
Frog wins every time.
Right?
Frog
That's why
wins.
Zelda loves catching them. Geek, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I remember having a Game Boy Color. My eldest brother had a green one. The middle brother had a blue one, and I had a hot pink one. I was very young, so like I knew the games they had, like certain Mario games and such. My first thought was Link's Awakening, and then I was like, wait, we have Link's Awakening. And then my next thought was, oh, Pokemon Yellow. And then I was like, wait, no, we have the Let's Go games. So the only thing I could really think of was Pokemon Pinball. I mean, I do want, like, as far as games that I played when I was little, so I was very young. But I would love the Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I would love that. But as far as games that I played Pokemon Pinball, Barbie Mermaid, and Powerpuff Girls, which no one wants any of those games. So I guess I would have to say the Oracle games. I've been wanting those. I personally would actually prefer they remake it like they did Link's Awakening, but I'll take what I can get too, if this turned out to be true.
I think you might have to.
Probably. I also had that little, like, you know how like there was that, you could get that extension that was that little weird light thing, and it looked like a tiny tadpole. I had like a transparent, like we all had a transparent one that like was the same color as our
spiral
thing, and I remember playing that like in the vehicle, because if you didn't have that, you were just like waiting for a street light to come by in the dark and past every street light to be able to see. Oh, the days of no backlit screens. Kids today don't understand. So yeah, that's all I can contribute.
Do you remember your first Game Boy? How you got it or anything?
No, honestly, I don't think I was actually 3. I was 3 when it came out, but I think by the time we actually got Game Boys, the Majora's Mask may have already been out, and I think the only reason my mom got me one was because of like a fairness thing, because my brothers had it, and looking back, I'm like, Mom, you really didn't need to. I mean, I'm glad because I still have it, and I did play games on it, but I'm like, Mom, my brothers were playing games more than me, but I think it was just like, it was probably like a Christmas gift. My mom, we didn't have a lot of money, but if there was one thing she would spend money on, it was for us to have games because she liked playing the games with us. And that was like always a big bonding thing. So, we did usually have the latest game systems. We would sacrifice other things naturally. But she was like, gosh darn it, I'm going to spend time with my kids playing Mario Party.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Daniel, what about you?
Well, I never had a Game Boy growing up, actually. My first handheld system was a DS Lite, actually. So I don't have the nostalgia for Game Boy games that a lot of people have, or that you guys have. But there are still Game Boy games that I would like to see. Obviously, there's, even though I know Geek said this with like Link's Awakening and Pokemon, that we already kind of have newer versions of those on Switch. But I still think it would be cool just to see. You can have people kind of come in and make the comparison and everything. So, and I mean, I've played those games. Like I went in like 2015. I was like, screw it, I'm buying myself a copy, and I bought Link's Awakening for myself. Only a few years later they released it on Switch anyways, and it was way better. But I still, out of curiosity, want to go and like play those games. Tetris is a good one. I'm surprised it's not on the NES Classic or the NES online app. But
really weird licensing.
We have Tetris 99. So
well, excuse you, we also have Yoshi's Tetris, which is also just as good.
But do we
But
have
Tetris
Attack
that has Yoshi
from the Super Nintendo that has a Mario RPG style Tetris?
True. But there's Tetris 99, which kind of superannuates the need for like a classic version of Tetris, because you can get just like marathon mode in Tetris. You don't have to play Tetris 99 in the 99 mode. You can play it in marathon mode. I think it's DLC technically, but still great version of Tetris. Not the best version of Tetris, but great version of Tetris. Yeah, and then of course the Oracle games, like everyone else is saying. Those are the only Zelda games that I have not played and beaten. And I have them. I recently just downloaded them for my 3DS a few weeks ago because I was like hearing rumors about 3DS eShop maybe, disappearing. Geek, are you okay? you're being pulled out of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Wait, is my camera being weird?
Your camera
it's
keeps
glitching out.
flashing green, and then sometimes you just like what?
like you're like glitching apart.
Oh no, hold on. The wire has. Oh, now it's doing it to me. Okay,
It reminds me of that NVIDIA panel the other day where most of it was made in CG or whatever, running on the graphics card they were showing off, and it was like, which part is real and which part is computer graphics? And it's like, I have no idea. The whole thing's fake. Like
the whole thing was
the interview a long time ago with Kojima that makes like Metal Gear and stuff. There was an interview with him talking about the game, and it was, instead of him, it was him being rendered on the engine they were making the game with, and it was their way to show off like kind of what the visuals were as a tech demo.
Interesting.
Like if Miyamoto would have done that with Breath of the Wild, clearly you could tell it was a game, but then these other people, it's like, no, that just looks real. I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Sorry. So on the topic of the Game Boy,
yeah,
I got up and I grabbed some of my Game Boy games because I couldn't quite remember all the weird ones we had.
The weird one, okay.
And looking at them now, clearly my brother and I fought a lot because they have our initials carved in the back of them.
Carved, not just written?
carved. I don't know if you can see it.
Holy cannoli. Yeah.
Wait, these are the same ones you've had since you were little?
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's the next level.
Anyways.
It's mine.
Oh,
So I have what?
Super Chat.
Oh, a super chat.
Oh.
I'm literally I gotta bring that closer. What, Daniel, do you want to read it?
Sure. So, temporary name. That's a good username. Wrote, I'm literally obsessed with the content you guys make. I like Kirby Pinball / Kid Icarus Myth of Monsters. And Daniel, you were so charismatic. Thank you for that. Temporary name. Appreciate it. I never played either of those games actually, so
Yeah.
oopsie me. But thank you for the super chat for that and the compliment. So also someone brought up Tetris DS because that is the best version of Tetris, by the way.
That's what I've heard from
and
people.
I would go on. I have a very tragic story about Tetris DS, which is off topic.
You died while playing it?
I did die. No, so what happened is I had a DS Lite, right? And I had Tetris DS on it, which is an amazing version of Tetris. And I used to have very long, excessive Tetris sessions, marathons. So they had an endless Tetris mode. So most versions of Tetris, you have a marathon mode, but it only goes up to a certain amount of points, and then it ends the game, and it's like, you win. But Tetris DS had an endless mode, which means you just go for as long as you can until you die, and you're out. So one day, it's about 9 p.m. I was in high school at the time, and I started a match of endless mode on Tetris. I paused the game for about 4 hours to sleep, and then I got up the next day for school, played all the way to school, and at the end of my first class at school, I was still playing, my friend got so fed up with the fact that I was so into this game of Tetris that he slapped my DS Lite out of my hand. It broke the hinge on my DS, and from that moment forward, my Tetris DS cart would not work. He broke the cart, and it still haunts me to this day. But
that's so rude.
So he meant it, jokingly, playfully, but these are delicate electronics, guys. So
that's worse than the time that someone took my Shrek tape and put it in the VCR the wrong way.
Oh,
I was about to say the same thing. But it was
Yowzers.
the Digimon movie, not Shrek.
Oh no.
Anyways.
So I have no idea my score was impossibly high. I have no idea. I don't know what my high score was because it was off the counter. It was just like 9999 and it was
Okay.
off.
Of course your score was really high and you have no evidence.
I am the king of Tetris, okay? I tell you, I will take you
No,
on a
you're the
Tetris
king of
fight.
We have
bananas.
2 super chats if you could stop fighting about who has the better Tetris score.
Okay.
Verby donates $4.99. Yeah, great chemistry with you four. Love the content. Hoping the Oracle games will get remade because I never played them and never had a 3DS. Still kind of want one. It's never too late to get a 3DS.
True. There's a very good
Does someone
library.
want to read the next one? You don't have to say the name.
No. I can read it.
You just go
The
fart, man.
dude with the very interesting name. I'm assuming it's a dude. I don't know why. Anyway, what are the odds of the Oracle games hitting online services right away? They donated $5. I would hope the odds are in our favor. Let me put it that way. There, I was able to sneak in a Hunger Games reference.
How ironic would it be if all the rumors that have been like, oh yeah, the Oracle games are coming to Switch, blah, 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 talking about a remake, but then it turns out it's just the original Oracle games.
Which I would still be happy for.
I'd still get them.
That's 2 more Zelda games.
Heck
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, this rumor's talking about Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. I would hope that they do Link's Awakening DX
Yeah.
instead of the OG. Because if you think about it, then we can have all 3 versions. I guess they could do both if they're doing Game Boy and Game Boy Color. But you have the Game & Watch is going to have the original Game Boy version of Link's Awakening, and then they could add Link's Awakening DX to Switch Online, and then we have Link's Awakening Nintendo Switch version as well, which
Mm-hmm.
is really the best version of the game. But yeah, that would be cool. It'd just be cool to like have them just to compare them and sort of more of like a historical curiosity thing.
That wasn't me. So I think they would add the DX version, because if you go to the Japanese NES Classic thing and you play Zelda 2, it's the disc version of Zelda 2, not the version. Like, they made the disc version for the Famicom disc system thing, and then they had they released the one for NES, which didn't have as good of sound, and it had some other downgrades. But in Japan, they also, when they re-released the game on a normal cartridge for the Famicom, they had both versions. But on the online shop, they have the better version instead of the like downgraded version. So if they did that for Link's Awakening, I think they would also put the better version. And that would mean that they had some sort of deal with Capcom, I imagine.
That's true. Because I guess if down the road, if they did do GBA games, the Game Boy Advance games, I would really love to see Minish Cap.
Yes, I haven't played that one either.
And
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, because you're talking about like other systems coming to it. I think they mean like other emulated systems. So, I
Makes
mean,
sense.
we were looking at that one about the data mining months ago at this point, and they're talking about seeing information about a possible N64 emulator on there. So I don't think it could be out of the realm of possibility.
It's true. And then the Metroid games are there, and
yeah, you did say Metroid too. What kind of fake fan
well,
are you?
the
Mr.
thing is though,
Lockhart?
like with Dread coming out in October, like a lot of people are having a hard time, you know, getting their hands on some of those classic Metroid games. And Super Metroid's on there, and Metroid 1 is on there, but then you don't have Zero Mission and Fusion, or it's Metroid 2, or its remake, Samus Returns, on the 3DS. So, like, if you really want the full, like, Metroid experience, you gotta have, like, some way to you probably got to get a 3DS and a Wii U, basically, and then buy the new one on Switch. So it's like, it's hard for people, like, to get legitimate copies, because if you want to buy an actual GBA card of these games, you're looking at buying them for like $100, basically. Like, people know their value currently, and scalpers are like, it's not really scalpers, I guess, but the secondhand market's having a field day with it, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, and to what Chube said, I think it would be really odd for them to just do Game Boy and Game Boy Color, because almost every emulator that can do Game Boy and Game Boy Color can also do Game Boy Advance. So,
but then actually, part of me wonders if they're going to do that, because, you know, they are looking at remaking a lot of these, like Advance Wars.
Oh, Vernon.
Is
Did
now coming
anyone
to Switch.
try that Zelda-themed Crypt of the Necro Dancer? Yes.
Yes. Cadence of Hyrule.
Didn't we get copies of that?
They gave me a review copy. I played it, and I loved the heck out of it. And I think I actually did like a kind of review on it. I don't know. I think it was like the first game review I ever tried to do, so it wasn't really the best thing I've ever done. Yeah. But yeah, they definitely provided a copy to us.
Yeah, they're really nice. And the guy that did the music for it isn't a friend sort of, but Daniel might know. You know, the guy that all the music I used on my channel for background was just exclusively his. He has Guitar 89. He had a bunch of songs with the Jules guy. I think it was Jules. And he did a bunch of video game music covers, and then developers and indie people started getting him to make real video game music. So he did all the music in that game,
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really crazy, because the way that, like, everything just has to be so precise with the music in that game, because the music is like half of the gameplay.
Yeah, I struggled with the game because of that. I don't know. I just had such a hard time with the content. That was the big thing. because the timing has to be so precise with the music that way that I just got my butt kicked constantly in that game. Yeah.
I think that there's an option to change that.
Yeah.
You can turn it
Yeah.
off, yeah.
But
Yeah.
you kind of lose the soul of the game then, like that's like really the heart of the game in a way. We got another super chat from Duda.
Wow.
Duda.
Wow, there's lots of super chats. Thank you, everybody. $5. Duda says, "What do you think of the game Good Boy Galaxy coming to Game Boy Advance?"
Oh, that's a new game that was canceled a long time ago, and then they're like redoing it or something. Kind of like what they did with Star Fox 2.
Oh,
So it's a thing like that.
Okay. Interesting. This is the first I'm hearing of it. It sounds
I've
cool.
never heard of it.
Yeah, it's obviously a spin-off of Super Mario Galaxy.
Yes, 100%.
Is it about Mario's
Before
dog?
it even existed.
Mario's dog.
Is it Mario's dog? He's a good boy.
Is he a Yoshi?
Wait, guys, it's actually about. It's a dog.
Oh, what? Daniel.
He is a good boy. He is
But
a good boy.
But he has a gun.
Ah,
What?
why
Yeah.
does the dog have a gun?
Huh.
Okay, I gotta look
Wow.
this up.
Oh my gosh. A new Game Boy Advance game has been successfully funded on Kickstarter. So I guess it was in development like 13 years ago? No. Ish? I don't know how old the GBA is. I don't remember.
It's coming to Switch as well.
Yeah, it's coming to Switch. It was successfully funded. That's really cool. I like that.
That is really cool. He's got a little spacesuit. I'm just watching the trailer now. Wow, this game looks really cool actually. I won't lie.
Yeah, right? Was this like a weird Twitter drop that I wasn't paying attention to?
Right? This is the first time hearing about this, but this looks really cool.
No Mario Bowling, only what was that game called? Wii Sports.
Oh, $2 from Envy. Do you guys think we'd ever see Termina's whereabouts? Like the location of it next to Hyrule?
Somewhere Hyrule adjacent, I think, but
Yeah.
Yeah, like 𝐿𝐴 Island is just like it's somewhere out there, but we don't know if it's like east, west, north, south.
but it's trickier because like Termina seems like just a geographical location that's nearby, but then 𝐿𝐴 Island is like you gotta pass through some interdimensional rift via
Yeah.
a giant deity's dream to get there. So it's like a little less complicated than
True.
that.
Or
Yeah.
what is it? The Drablands is supposed to be like directly north of Hyrule.
Right.
Which from Triforce Heroes. So technically, going by canon, that giant landmass that you see across the ridge at the very north of Hyrule, technically that would be the Drablands. Because that's how it's explained in the game where they're introduced. Where like Link traveled north, and here he is, where instead of saving the world, you have to save the queen or the princess that is just dressed really poorly.
Triforce Heroes really is a game that exists, isn't it?
It
We
does.
tried to. Daniel and I were online on video chat for like 2 hours trying to figure out how to play it online. So
Yeah, we were trying to get Citra to work with us, and it wasn't very successful, unfortunately.
yeah, and the evidence of that is there was no live stream ever.
Hmm. Yeah, we thought it'd be fun to stream it, but
Yeah, because Four Swords was
Um,
really good when we did it online. Yes, Choops. Hi.
So, because we got really off topic, I wanted to go through my really obscure game.
Oh
or
yes,
not
yes,
really
yes,
obscure.
please.
yes, tell us about games.
Stop
I left
sending
my
money for
room
a
to
moment.
grab my Game Boy games. I'm missing Warlock. It must be one of my boxes somewhere. But you can tell my dad basically only bought games based on movies. I have Quest for Camelot.
Okay, all right.
I have Star Wars Yoda Stories. I used to play this a lot. It was really
Sounds
nice.
bomb.
All right.
This is the Pokemon trading card game.
Mhm.
I never actually got to play it. I don't know how it plays because my brother would not let me play it.
So it's the
this-
trading card game, the video game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like playing the virtual version of the actual Pokemon game. Like most
Harvest-
Yu-Gi-Oh games.
Harvest Moon 2. I've never beaten this game, but I've definitely played the first 5 hours of it. Probably like 100 hours worth of that.
100 hours of the
Elmo's 1,
first
2,
5
3.
hours?
Yeah. Elmo's 1, 2, 3. Never beat this game. Don't know how. Maybe you just don't beat it. Kelly's Club. This game, I played a lot. I probably beat this game like 10 times.
I don't believe you.
And Rainbow Six, oddly enough.
What?
That was the other weird one that I
What?
How do they make that game?
Maybe your dad just
on
saw
Game
rainbow
Boy.
in the title and was like, "This seems like a kid's game."
There you go.
I don't know.
No, those are
Like-
based off books and stuff too, so that fits.
My dad doesn't read though. Like this must have been like he saw a guy with a gun and he was like, maybe that's a game I'll like for himself. So I have
Maybe.
Rainbow Six. I also have Turok.
Ooh, nice.
Wait, they made Turok for Game Boy?
Yeah, I have Turok 2 and I have Turok Rage Wars.
Because I have Turok for the N64, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
And
did
it
not
runs-
know that they put those on Game Boy.
It runs really poorly. Like they couldn't get the
It does.
game right on Nintendo 64.
Also, my parents couldn't figure out whose was whose. You'd think that these would belong to the same child. One was for me and one was for Ryan.
Couldn't tell whose was whose. All they have to do is look for the carvings.
We do that to our N64 games and our Super Nintendo games
Oh,
too.
you're killing me.
Why didn't you get a permanent marker?
I don't know if my
Oh
dad
my
knew
God.
Sharpies existed.
Oh,
Because that's what
no.
my family had to use. We just wrote our last name on all of them. Except
Oh,
for Hey You Pikachu, I explicitly wrote my name on. It didn't work out well because I was determined to make sure everyone knew that one was mine.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's my weird Game Boy collection.
So
love it.
to the next topic, but first, a quick yes or no. We discussed
Okay.
what we'd like to see, but do you think there's anything behind this, or do you think it's something Nintendo's going to do or not do, or yeah? Daniel, start with you.
Yeah, I do think so actually, because I think it's been a while since they've done anything new with Nintendo Switch Online, and like we're overdue for something. And the output of Super Nintendo and NES games has like come to a pretty slow trickle. It's like it used to be like they'd give a new game monthly, and now it's like every few months they're going to give you some like random obscure game that you're not really interested in. So it's like if anyone's been keeping up with these, you'll know that it's really coming to sort of a drought sort of place. And if anyone hasn't been keeping up with it, it's because there's nothing worth keeping up with. So I feel like we're overdue, and there's been rumblings for a while about Nintendo wanting to do more stuff with their online service and stuff like that, right? So it just seems like to me the pieces are kind of falling into place. I'm not saying it's 100% going to happen or that I 100% believe it, but I think there's some credence to it. I think there's some. I don't think it's unrealistic. Yeah, that was more than just a simple yes or no. Sorry about that.
Yeah, my answer is yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I can see Nintendo doing it, and I hope it's true.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jesse?
What? Yeah.
We're waiting on you, and then Link answers.
I see
What
them
are you so
doing it.
happy about?
Nothing. Yeah, I think they could be doing it as well. Like,
I don't-
because they did have the designs and stuff for the N64 controller that got released. I don't think they had anything for Game Boy or Game Boy Advance. They never put out a what's it called? The like they had the NES and SNES Mini, and people thought they were going to do the Game Boy next, or the
I wish they had.
the N64, and they got the controller design for the N64 that we've seen, but we never seen anything from it. And I thought it would be weird if they did release a Game Boy Mini, because you could just put the games on the Switch, and then you'd probably have even more people buy it, and you would make more money because you wouldn't have to spend all the money to produce the hardware. You could just upload the games on something portable that people are already buying a lot of things for.
Yeah, but why'd you make us all green? All of us, not just me this time.
Why does it get blamed on me?
I was wondering why you were smiling like that. I was like, I don't trust Jesse's smiling.
Devious smile. too devious.
Yeah. So the next thing, we can just do the Triforce Trivia, since that one took like 30 minutes.
Yeah, so you made someone think that their computer was broken.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I was
Oh
my
God.
only intention was to troll Daniel.
Yeah, now you've trolled this other poor person in chat.
All of us.
All right, are you guys ready? This is Triforce Trivia. We haven't had it in about 200 years.
Do I need a pen and paper?
No.
I guess. Well, have any of us come up with questions for this? Or
No, I did.
Were we supposed to?
I didn't come up with these
right.
questions, but I have questions.
You have questions?
Where were you
Okay,
on
my
October
other
31st?
question- The other. Oh, that's a question. Okay, two things. First of
It
all,
is a question.
we have a super chat from Natsu. $5. Natsu said, "I don't have a good question." Oh, okay, that's okay. So, if you could only have one pizza topping for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
Do you mean that you
Chicken,
only
because
get
I love barbecue chicken pizza.
Wait. Does that mean that you only get like one thing? So you get a pizza, it comes with tomato sauce and cheese, and you get one ingredient.
Or is the cheese
That's
an
right.
ingredient?
No, we're not counting
One
the. We're not
topping.
going to count the cheese. Cheese is just part of the pizza skeleton. The toppings are separate. That's my stance.
What about people that want cheese pizzas?
Then they get extra cheese. So
There you go. But I stand by chicken as long as it's a barbecue chicken pizza. So the
Banana.
sauce is barbecue, the cheese is mozzarella.
Banana pizza.
Jesse really said banana. Okay.
No, I was asking
And
about that the
I
one
just
day.
know Tube is gonna say pineapple, and I'm gonna
I'm
hate it.
absolutely gonna say pineapple. I will eat any pizza as long as it
Ew.
has pineapple on it. You throw pineapple on that, and I'm sold.
Ew.
I would go
That'd be
with
such a hard-
green onions.
Ugh.
What? Do you mean green peppers?
No. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I do. Yes.
I was gonna say, I
Actually,
don't think he means green onions.
green onions are good, but they're more like not really. They're not actually like onions, though.
What
That's-
about garlic pizza?
Right.
One time I got a piece of garlic pizza,
No.
I kid you not, it was literally just garlic and cheese.
Wow.
garlic pizza's good, but it sure
Yeah.
doesn't
Speaking of,
sit right.
was it
I didn't
Tetra?
think anything of it. I got this stupid piece of pizza. I got on the SkyTrain, so I'm in an enclosed box with other humans eating this garlic pizza, wondering why everyone's glaring at me.
Oh no!
Oh no.
I was so
Oh, my
stinky.
God.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna say Roma tomatoes, like fresh Roma tomatoes. That's my pizza top. If I can only choose one, I love tomatoes so much. So
All right.
that's my.
Was it
Geek is making a face.
Tetra
here.
in the
I am like one of the pickiest people on the planet. It's horrible.
on
Where's
the
Tetra?
Discord? No, on the Discord, Tetra. Was it her that was talking about the new pizza from Little Caesars that she was wanting to get?
No, that was Rinrin.
Okay, well, because of that, earlier today, went out and got it. So
How was it?
Oh, you did. How was it though?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's in the kitchen.
okay.
It
Go get a pizza
It
right
arrived.
now.
It arrived like 2 minutes before the podcast started. So
Oh
No.
my gosh.
I will go get it
Wow.
before it ends though and show everyone.
Oh my god.
Guys,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see pizza.
we just want to see it. we can't.
No.
We
So,
can't have it.
So the way this works, depending on how long it takes to go through the questions, we have up to 10, but it could be 4 or 5 or 6, doesn't matter. And
Mhm.
just however long we have. And
Okay.
whoever wins, I believe Daniel is the current Nintendo World Champion. For everyone who is interested, when we had more free time in our Discord, we used to have competitive live streams sometimes to where we'd play Mario Kart or something against each other, and whoever won, at the very top of our Discord, there is the main role, which is like us 4 and a couple of other really good friends, and instead of being put there, you'd be like one spot above it. So in the Discord, you'd even be technically ranked above everyone. That way, all 1,400 people that get on the Discord can just see that you are the world champion. But Daniel is the current world champion. So
I'm surprised I still am. I I thought I gave that role away to
yeah.
Gray Mage because of my Smash stream.
I thought that it went to Cliff because I just have photo evidence of him getting a belt.
Cliff was the Nintendo World Champion in 2019. Yeah, because of we were playing Smash in LA with him in IRL because we could do that back then. So, yeah, I'm not the Nintendo. I just checked in the Discord. I'm not the Nintendo World Champion currently. Who is? Nobody knows.
If anyone wants to join the Discord, the link should be in the description, or you can do like exclamation point Discord, I think. I don't know. Anyways, question number 1. I'm not going to say where these questions came from until the very end, but it is someone that we know. No.
Forrest Minish's quiz that Kayla takes. Okay. Because I was like, Kayla already did all those questions. So.
Are we just going to be like shouting out our answers? I have a pencil and paper ready.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Let's write them out.
Some of them it looks like some of them are multiple choice.
Okay, but we'll
I'll read the multiple choices. All right.
Okay.
So. Oh yeah. Also, like I was saying, it is someone that at least Daniel and I know who did this, but I'll give the website and everything credit at the end. That way no one can just type it in and look up.
Now.
Including the people in the chat. You can give your guesses as well. Not including... Yes?
I was saying I'm going to cover up chat so I don't feel swayed by people's answers.
All right. Well, they're like 5 seconds behind anyways. Not including not including re-releases or remakes. How many mainline Nintendo Legend of Zelda games feature Link in the title? Not including re-releases or remakes. How many mainline Nintendo Legend of Zelda games feature Link in the title? 3, 4, 5, or 6?
Okay.
Okay. Everyone write their answer
Hold
down?
on. I'm like picturing the timeline in my head. Okay, I have my answer.
All right. Question 2. The Philips CDI hosted 3 poorly received non-Nintendo Zelda games. Which of the following was not a Philips CDI title? Link, The Faces of Evil, Zelda, The Wand of Gamelon, Link's Adventure, Zelda's Adventure.
Oh.
Wait, should we go over the answers at the end or just after each question?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Let's do it. We've already started. We're 2 questions, so let's just do it all at the end.
Okay.
How many questions are there?
10.
What?
10.
Yeah.
That's fine. We're 2 in. We're good.
Yeah, we're not discussing the questions. We're going through them real fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I chose my answer.
Number 3. You guys ready?
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Which Zelda game celebrated its 20th anniversary at the end of April 2020?
Wait.
Yeah, you're waiting for me to say it. I'm so sorry. The Legend of Zelda Link's
I already knew it.
The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. See, for some reason...
You said 2020, right?
Yes.
20th anniversary 2020.
Yeah. I just assumed everyone already knew the Zelda games, so I didn't
I actually already
did.
Yeah, I knew which one it was. At least I'm pretty sure I knew which one it was.
Question 4. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. Ocarina of Time features 7 sages. What is the name of this strapping.
Of this, what now? Is there like an image to go with this?
It is. It's the Goron.
Which race is it? There's 7 stages and they're all different.
I know. It's a Goron. So is it Rauru,
Okay.
Garuto, Goro, or Darunia?
I knew that without even hearing the
Yeah.
options. That was always such a good feeling when I would take like history or science tests, and before I even read multiple choice, I went, I knew it. But sometimes I would think I know it, and then I'd read the multiple choice and be like, well, it's not on there. So I guess I was wrong. Good thing it was multiple choice.
Sorry, I keep muting myself because I'm typing it because I don't have a piece of paper and a pen.
Oop.
Oh.
Okay, wait, but did the question phrase it as this? Who is this strapping fellow?
Strapping?
Or
Yeah.
what?
And then it has the original artwork of Darunia.
That's
Nice.
Where he's
wonderful.
just
I love how you
You
Well,
just gave us the answer.
Which,
I'm
I mean,
sure
that's
we
what
all
I
got
put.
this one now.
I
I'm
wrote
sure we all.
Darunia, if it makes you feel any better.
Yeah, I have no doubt that we all get that.
what is
Yeah.
the main part of a Goron's diet? Rubies, rats, rocks, or rubber plants?
Are you kidding me right now?
Are you serious?
This is a trick question, right? It's obviously rubber plants.
Of course.
No duh. Are you even a real Zelda fan if you don't know that? Okay.
All right. Chronologically, according to the in-game universe, citing Hyrule Historia, which game is the first in the series? The Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
Next. You said according to Hyrule Historia, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Question 7. Navi.
Cavity.
Well, accompanied is the next word. I was getting ahead.
Okay, that's
Navi accompanied Link on his adventure in Ocarina of Time. But what's the name of his fairy companion in Majora's Mask? Tittle? Tattle? Sorry. Tittle, tattle, tail, or trip? Yeah.
Oh,
Tittle,
oh,
tattle,
Tittle.
Oh, channel.
tittle, tattle,
Can that be a name?
tail, trip. Were you really trying to think, Daniel?
No, I'm just like waiting. I'm ready. I'm
Okay.
done. So-
You looked like you were trying to think.
thinking.
I'm like,
you were visioning
thinking
the
about-
future to get the next question.
that's right.
Yeah, just
Exactly.
skip forward on the
Exactly.
YouTube video 30 seconds and it'll be there.
Ah,
Seriously.
perfect.
Question 8. Which of the following Zelda games has the lovable Tingle not appeared in? Majora's Mask, The Minish Cap, Oracle of Ages, Twilight Princess. I wonder if is this one going to be a trick?
I was just about to ask, is that a trick question?
It's not a trick question.
No, because I'm trying to think.
You
I know
you don't,
two of them.
You don't count
No.
he who should not
tell
be
us.
Right,
named.
right. Yeah.
No, they have a different name and a different design.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like,
And,
I know
the-
where they're going with this.
But that's like,
but-
is Tetris Zelda? Yes, Tetris Zelda.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Oh my gosh,
It's
you
not.
guys.
Okay, I'm ready.
Question 9. What is the name of Link's talking boat in The Wind Waker? King of White Waves, King of Golden Sunsets, King of Red Lions, King of Blue Fins.
Bluefin.
Question 10.
The final question.
I don't know if this one is canon.
Uh-oh.
All right. What is the antagonist Ganondorf's last name?
Ooh,
Sorry,
that
I
is
keep,
ambiguous.
I keep breathing on the mic. Sorry.
Yeah, I know what
Aghanim?
they mean.
Aghanim, Dragmire, Grimoire, Mandrag.
Ambiguity.
I know what they're aiming for, but
Yeah. But it's only ever said in like I think the A Link to the Past manual, never like so it's
right.
ambiguous for sure.
I'm like, I don't think this is even in like those big books.
I remember.
I don't
That
think
was
so,
something
yeah.
else.
So in Ocarina, remember we were doing when we were helping Hard for Games when they got all that Zelda 64 beta stuff, and I was looking up all those interviews. There was one where Miyamoto did refer to him with that name. Do you remember that? Like there was the character thing where everyone thought Ganondorf was the good guy and Zelda was just being a bratty little princess, and then the big twist in the game, it turns out Ganondorf was evil. Like
What
that
a
was,
twist.
yeah, that was the original twist, which they tried to keep in the game. When Zelda looks through the window, is like, everyone thinks he's so good, but I see the evil in his eyes or whatever it is. So it, like, it makes you think he's a good guy for like a tenth of a second. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I guess that could have been the big twist before they were like, now he's an adult, now he's a child. All right, are you guys ready?
Yep.
I'm ready. Are we gonna just reveal our answers here?
I guess so. Okay.
Mine are really close together though.
Answer number one was 4.
4.
Tubes.
I wrote them out.
4. I'll just hold it up
You're
like this.
muted, Tubes.
I wrote 5.
Okay.
You wrote 5. What?
What's the fifth one?
It's,
I don't know. I think I lost count because I was counting and I was like, is this 6 or 4?
Yeah, so it's
No, it's
Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, A Link Between Worlds.
Between Worlds.
Yeah, I think I counted 1
4.
or twice.
Oop.
A Link Between Worlds is tricky because it's like a half remake, I don't know. I always
It's
think
still
of it
its
as a
own-
reimagining.
It's its own game.
It is.
It's just inspired.
It's odd. And then it's
what
like
you call
if you
soft
if you go by the Japanese names, then it would just be 2. Because then you would have Triforce of the Gods and Triforce of the Gods 2, not Adventure of Link. And then even the first one, no, it's just The Legend of Zelda. Because its Japanese name is Hyrule Fantasy. Did you guys know Twilight Realm in Japan, they just call it the Shadow World?
Nice.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
What's up, Daniel?
Great.
You were saying something?
I was no. I
Oh,
wasn't.
wow.
So,
Look at all those answers. So many people playing. along.
surprisingly. Yeah.
I know, right?
This is
I feel
fun.
bad. 'cause I
Oh,
was like,
someone said Link's crossbow trading.
Oh,
should-
that's not a mainline Zelda though.
Not a main line, but
everyone's
ouch.
on my side though.
True.
They want me to be.
They're just
they want me
trying
to
to-
be right.
Yeah, they're
Alright.
just trying to get it, squeeze an extra one in to make
Each-
Tube right.
Each of you, I'm really bad at numbers, so each of you try to keep track of how many you got right. Because
Okay, I'll just put a check mark
three
beside
is
mine.
really
Yeah.
hard for me to do. I can't count past that.
That's fair.
Thank you, Daniel. I knew you believed in me.
Okay.
Okay, Philip CDI hosted, poorly received. The answer to number 2 was Link's Adventure.
Link's Adventure.
Also, I also got that.
Oh wait,
right.
no, I put Zelda's Adventure. Dang it.
Yeah.
I knew the first
Uh-oh.
two were.
Wait, what? Wait. Oh no, those. I did Link/Zelda's Adventure.
That was you. That's
Two separate answers.
those are 2 answers. You have to choose one. Choose
It's
one
so-
now.
No, it's too late. I already know the answer.
We'll
so
give her a
basically
half
I'm
point.
0 right now.
We'll give you a half point.
Cool.
Which Zelda game celebrated its 20th anniversary? Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask.
Majora's
Because
Mask.
it came out when I was 5, which would have been the year 2000.
Yeah.
Question 4. Ocarina of Time features 7 sages. And it was
The strapping.
Darunia.
Runia.
5.
He is a strip lad.
What is the main part of a Goron's diet? Rocks.
Rubber plants.
From
Just
Dodongo's
kidding,
Cavern.
rocks.
Question 6. Chronologically, Skyward Sword.
Yes.
Skyward Sword.
I wasn't paying attention and I wrote a question mark.
Mm.
You could have asked to repeat the question.
Yeah.
Question 7. Navanid. Tattle.
Tattle.
Battle.
Tattle is
Although I
her
just realized my
brother.
TL looks like an H, so it could just be TL, but it just looks like a big H.
Question 8.
it's-
Which of the following? Tingle. Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess. It's
Yeah.
because the guy is inspired. His design is inspired by Tingle.
Right.
Yeah.
He
He's
is not actually
Tingle.
Tingle. Jesse.
Oh, also in Twilight Princess, that bug lady, you know how she just calls herself a princess, but then no one in the game actually refers to her as a princess, so there's that big debate, like, is she a princess or is she just crazy? In the Japanese text, she actually is a princess. Like, they refer to
single
her,
princess.
every time it says her name, it's Princess Agatha or whatever. It's never Agatha or anything like that. Like,
Or they're just playing along,
maybe. You're like,
going, it's just easier.
why break
She
her
knows
heart?
we have both.
What is the name of the talking boat dude? King of Red Lions.
Coral.
Coral, what?
Coral. No, it's
I
whenever
really
I was
wanted to be
writing
like
script,
King Daphnis.
I wrote that actually in parentheses. King of Red Lions, King Daphnis. No, but Coral's Korl. Whenever I was writing scripts for Wind Waker videos, I would just write Coral to abbreviate.
Question 10. Ganondorf's last name. Dragmire.
Dragmire.
All right.
What an intense
Daniel,
last
what
name.
is your score?
10 out of 10.
9.
I got 7.5.
Oh.
Oh. We'll round up to 8 for you.
All right. Just going off the buddy system
Told me
here.
I was gonna lose.
Everyone in the chat, if you can remember which ones you have right and wrong, post what your score was. We're going off the buddy system, so don't. There's
Yeah,
just
we're
a buddy
lost,
saying
so I'm-
first. I guess there's a lot of people that got them all right. Awesome.
We're live, so I had to be honest. I couldn't lie to you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
To get you got 10 out of 10 on Force Minish's quiz,
I got
apparently.
10 out of 20.
Was it out of 20? Oh, I haven't done it yet, so I'll let you know my score.
I got 50% on that.
Oh, whoops. I thought you said on Twitter you got 10 out of 10.
No, I just said
must
I
have
got
misread
10,
that.
and I'm pretty sure I put a frowny face after that.
So
Oh.
there is a website where I can go to, and you can, like, almost like how you make a poll, like you ask a question and then give the answers. There's ones where you can make your own questions and answers for trivia stuff. So if everyone in the chat liked this enough, I will make one of those for next week's podcast. And that way everyone can play along in the chat as well. And then if you beat one of us and you're in the Discord, then we can put your name up there with us. So if you guys liked this, just put a 1 if you liked it and put a 0 if you did not in the chat. And then
Are you encouraging spam right now?
maybe
Binary system.
every time they comment, that's more likely they are to be recommended our videos. So why not?
Bruh.
So I guess questions, or do you guys want to do just one of the review things?
Well, there was only one negative actual critic review. Otherwise, you have to go to the user reviews.
Well, yeah, but-
User reviews are always a fun time.
All right. So I guess we can do this real quick. They're only like a paragraph. So I thought it would be a fun idea. We used to do this a little bit to go and look at the good reviews and the bad reviews from the Zelda games that was made at the time they released. To get it, like, the big thing was, like, with Wind Waker, everyone hated the art style so much that it made them change it to Twilight Princess and all that, which is something we all know, but hardly anyone actually goes back to see exactly what the people at the time did say instead of just summing it all up. So I thought it would be Fun to go through and see what kind of complaints people had about Skyward Sword's HD remaster. From Hit Nyuabud, I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know if that's a name or the website. They say no reviewer on Earth enjoys scathing Zelda. Wow. Okay, let me get this. Put it on the screen. No reviewer on Earth enjoys scathing a Zelda game. More often than not, they are grand, cruel games players are willing to wait years for. Ever since Breath of the Wild, we've been given crumbs while waiting for the much-awaited sequel. Through remasters and remakes, Link's Awakening scratched the itch. Skyward Sword HD does not. Spoiler alert, in the year 2021, motion controls are still horrible. And they gave it a 40.
Wow.
40 is high for something that horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you guys see a user review or one of the middle mixed reviews?
I have a user review. It's short.
Do it.
It says, it's one of the ones that's a 0. It has no substance to it. Some guy named Zen says, absolute garbage. Spent 3 hours wandering around with no idea where to go. Oh my god.
$10 says
And
he was playing hide and seek with the Kikwis.
Well, he probably didn't even get off the sky, and I'm like, dude, this is complained about as being one of the most linear and obvious games of Zelda, and you had no idea what to do. I think that sounds like a you problem.
That's what I was thinking too, because like of all the games, this is the one that like really funnels you in very specific directions more than any other Zelda game. Like the idea of like the biggest complaint I hear is people not wanting to be told what to do so much, as opposed to this person who somehow
really
couldn't.
does.
They probably skipped through the narration, or like
I guess
not the narration. It skipped through the text because you can skip through the text now, and a lot of the information is in the text because it's story based. So I'm like that, or you're really just that inept.
Oh, so
or you didn't actually play it.
two things really quick. That the trivia thing comes from Nintendo Life and was written by Gavin Lane from Nintendo Life. The title is Quiz: How well do you know the Legend of Zelda? I think
Gavin.
Sorry,
nothing.
I know, Daniel and I know or have a few friends at various Nintendo websites, so I don't know if everyone knows who that is, but I thought it would be nice to use some of those. I want to see if Brett has one for next week. Anyways, the other thing is, if you are a Patreon member, I know there's a few in the chat, but you can send me questions to put on the trivia thing for them to answer. But you also have to put your multiple choice for them to answer as well.
Cool.
I am poking at nothing. I'm sorry. Tubes, do you have your negative review?
I do. Where did I put it? Uh-oh, that's not it. Uh-oh. Oh, here it is. Yeah, this one. This one got a 1 by Prophet C. The controls are awful in this game and make it a literal chore to play. Everything revolves around gimmick motion controls that in 2021 just don't hold up. The game is just almost unplayable. For example, you have to run around with the L trigger held down just to be able to navigate the camera. Also, the sword controls are terrible and just not fun at all. Everything depends on you moving your sword in a certain way. Like diagonal up left, or diagonal up right, and or diagonal down left, or right, or straight up, or straight down. It gets really old really fast. I'm not a Nintendo hater. Loved Breath of the Wild and many of the Mario games. Skyward Sword, though, just does not work at all. Maybe if it was like a $15 in a bargain bin, but not $60 for a standalone game.
Wow.
They really had to type out every direction that you use it. Up or down or right or down.
It's not even hard to figure out the direction.
That's
like that should be instinct to be like, oh, that's a diagonal.
Yeah.
Go.
Like during the Wii era, that was revolutionary.
True. It's weird though, because like people complain about the directional slashes, and like that is a lot of the combat. Don't get me wrong, it totally is. But like in other games, the combat is just pressing one button.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't see how that's better. Like, if any, that's just simpler. I don't know. Like, at
I'm
least
a
they were
button
trying
masher
to.
fan, and I like these controls.
Yeah, totally. So it's, I don't know. Like, I feel like people are just being forced to think about what they're doing too much, and they're like, no, I don't want to. I don't like this
Thinking,
change.
what? Zelda involves thinking. Puzzles.
I don't like to think about the directions of up and down and left and right and diagonal left up
Too
and diagonal left
complicated.
right and diagonal left down and diagonal left.
But gosh darn it, I will type it out for you.
Why did they make a point by making me read all of those directions?
It was actually a teeny bit harder during the streams where I was emulating it on Dolphin with a 360 controller, because the way it was, you'd have to move the analog stick to like point, but then to swing, because you had the analog stick set at different velocities. So normal would just be looking around, and then to actually swing it, you'd have to hold down like the L1 or whatever trigger, and then you'd move it, and the velocity would speed up, so you could actually slash with it. It made it a little bit more difficult, but even with that, it was still easy. And with the official controls, the way they did it was amazing. And I don't know about you guys. I feel the motion controls. Sorry, Daniel. The new motion controls they have are actually easier and better than the Wii. There's been a lot of people comment on that Skyward Sword video, where it's talking about all the difference, basically my review of it. And there's a bunch of people that's like, this is a complete lie, blah, blah, blah. It's basically the same. In fact, the motion controls on the old one were even better. Like, I don't know how they could, but they made it worse. Tubes, are you one of those people? Did you leave those negative comments? Was it just you, like, 10 times in a row being like, yeah, you suck?
Garrett bungled the controls. I never had to
calibration.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. I'd never had to recenter myself so many times.
Sounds like you need to recenter yourself right now, because you're completely...
Also, if I'm being totally honest, I only played like 5 hours of the HD one, so my opinion is totally invalid.
That's fine.
No, but in fairness, you do have to recalibrate a lot more in the HD version if you're playing with motion controls. Like, it's,
do you think
it's very noticeable. It's basically what happens is the Wii version recalibrates itself automatically whenever the Wii remote sees the sensor bar. So whenever those two see each other, Switch doesn't have this. So basically, like, it can become uncalibrated, but it doesn't happen as much because you're more likely to.
Which Joy-Con is it that has the IR?
The right one, but it's on the bottom, and there's no sensor bar. So the Switch isn't set up to do that automatic
they should
recalibration.
Give you a special shirt that like recenter every time you point it out.
That would be fun. Well, then you have to play with your hand out in front of you.
No, just
but I don't know. Like, I just got into the habit of just hitting the center button very often. Anytime I pulled out a weapon, like a bow or the hook shot or claw shot, I would just recenter. I did end up just switching over to button controls because I would like to play in handheld mode and things like that. And also when recording footage of the game, especially with aiming stuff, it's just a little bit smoother. Do you know what I mean? There's just less of the jostle, but I don't think the motion controls are non-functional. But like, the control is better, but it becomes uncalibrated more often. So it's this weird sort of mixed bag. So I see that criticism, but it's not like it's unplayable by any stretch. But I'm going to stop talking now because there's a super chat.
Taker610 super chats $2 and said, Skyward Sword HD review has weird creepy merchant guy 0 out of 10.
Is that Rupin?
Yeah, the guy with the big beady eyes. We talking about that guy? Yeah, he weird.
It's funny though, is if you go to his house at night, he's very much the embodiment of a customer service guy. You meet him during the day when he's working, and he's like over the top and super friendly, and he's like, yeah, stuff. You go to his house at night, and he's like literally sitting there like this, and he's like, what do you want?
Oh, I was thinking about the fortune teller. The fortune teller looks freaky.
Oh, the
Oh
fortune
my
teller does
gosh,
look
I didn't know the
creepy.
fortune teller was a dude.
And
Oh,
the storage girl falls in love with you the same as the one from Breath of the Wild.
I love it.
But you can choose to have her fall in love with you. Like every time you take something to her, she's like, "You just brought this here to see me, didn't you?"
And I'm like, no.
No, I really didn't.
No, I need a bottle.
What else was it? So I want to go back to what Geek's thing was with how it literally leads you. At the beginning of the game, as you're walking out, like the guy's literally like, "Hey, can you help me with this barrel?" And then it shows you where to take it. And then when you get outside, the teacher guy is like, "Hey, can you help me find this cat?" And then the camera zooms to the path that you're supposed to take, and then where the little cat rimlet, it's not a cat, it's a rimlet, zooms where it is, and then even zooms on the path that you have to go. And then when it's time for Fi to lead you to the thing, she literally leads you to it. Like, yeah. The
I tell you, throwing that cat off the roof sucks.
Yeah, why'd you throw the cat off the roof?
Didn't mean to. It was really hard to get back up.
You're a monster.
It's basically what people do to the baby penguin in Super Mario 64.
Oh my
Or they
god.
just,
I
like,
remember
toss it
that.
Yeah.
My brothers
Except
would
they
do that
fly.
just to make me cry.
Oh no.
They should bring him
Because
back
of
in
course
Breath of the Wild,
3-year-old me
too.
is like, what are you doing?
I'm so sorry. We're so derailed right now.
Yeah,
Who has the
Daniel
next bad
has
review?
the last one.
Daniel.
Yeah, you got the last
Okay.
one, Daniel.
This one's a
And
bit
then we're taking
longer.
everyone's questions.
Is it that really long one?
It might be.
Oh, my God.
So the review. Should I say the name? You guys said the name. So
We did.
it's Zquarantiniuf.
Yeah, nice.
That's
Accurate.
the username. This game is still the tedious, boring, and uninspired chore that it was 10 years ago. It wants to be epic, it tries really hard, but rather tell you that it is than make you feel it or experience it. Exactly like its Wii counterpart. The beginning is painfully slow. The tutorial, the first 2 hours, 2 hours, lasts longer than the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You just said it was 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings not extended is 3 hours.
Not that long.
Not-
I streamed
not the
for 5
trilogy.
hours
Not that
and
long.
got to the next,
the
like, the second place.
The extended Lord of the Rings trilogy is longer than 2 hours.
Dang.
So much longer.
With none of the excitement, mashing buttons and rolling your eyes through everything will make you question your existence. The game treats you like a toddler that can't grasp even the most basic concepts of gameplay or logic. Most information is thrown in your face, explained by and large, repeated, and marked on your map. The game also makes sure you are told everything. You cannot try to discover things by yourself. So this is the opposite criticism as the one we read before. Movement is stiff and limited. The world feels small, disconnected, and doesn't fulfill any sense of exploration whatsoever. The sky is empty and doesn't bring any excitement at all. Revisiting these same areas and bosses again and again and again gets dull really fast. The main antagonist throughout the story is as cringe-inducing as ever. Hold on a second. Are they talking about Ghirahim? Because
he's literally one of the best enemies.
Ghirahim is freaking nuts, and I love him.
Yeah.
He is a lunatic.
Like, look at him.
Yes.
Zant, Aghanim. I can't think of the others. Like, yeah, like, Aghanim kidnaps Zelda and, like, does the weird ritual thing with her. But it's like, out of all of those, which one is the scariest? Like, a villain should be scary.
Ghirahim is legit
It's just-
scary. And he knows. Like,
he knows
it's his cool nature about it.
Yeah. Like,
It's the fact that he's so like articulate, but like sadistic. Like he takes so much pleasure in violence. Clearly, you know what I mean. He just he's.
He also used
also,
my
fun
favorite
fact-
word, and it upset me.
Wait, what word is that?
Mellifluous.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah,
He
he's good.
did you know? I found this out the other day while recording some Skyward Sword footage for a video that I'm doing. He when you're fighting him and he hits you with his sword, as soon as he hits you and you're knocked on your back, as you're recovering, he'll lick his sword where he hit you.
He sure does.
It's like, jeez, dude,
Like a
calm
freaking
down.
sword swallower.
Yeah. And it makes that loud sound that it's just like, oh dude. Yeah. So it's just amazing. Anyways, Definitely disagree with that point. Since the game focuses heavily on story, sometimes at the cost of interesting gameplay, it is entirely linear. This can be fine, but certainly a point to consider in a Zelda game. Many Zelda games are very linear. No one complains about it in Twilight Princess, you know. Aside from a few great themes, the orchestral soundtrack isn't that interesting or memorable. Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Credited just based on that.
In other words, it's still rock bottom for 3D Zelda, and in retrospect, it's crystal clear why this game was the catalyst that made Nintendo rethink the whole franchise moving forward, giving us Breath of the Wild. The only redeeming quality it has, to avoid labeling it as entirely creatively bankrupt, is some of its dungeons and a few interesting mechanics. The story is fine, assuming you don't mind it stopping your progress all the time for cutscenes. In terms of remakes, some tweaks and fixes make the game overall less frustrating and less inclined to make you want to drill a hole in your head, but the experience is mostly the same. The quality of life sure is improved, no doubt about it, but considering how low it was in the first place, I'm not even sure if we can call this revised. Nice graphics, though. 2 out of 10.
So the last...
Okay, he literally contradicted himself because he said that... What was I thinking of? He was like, oh, it's so easy and they explain everything to you. And I really want to be like, then why did it take you 2 hours to get through the beginning?
It really does take you 2 hours to get through it.
I mean, I'm slow and I talk a bunch during my streams and I'm just bad at gamings and I'm bad at gaming and it didn't take me that long.
Also, how do we go from boo, motion controls suck, to boo, how dare I have to press buttons?
That's a good question. That's a good point. Those points are really close together on his list here.
At the end,
I think
said
that
the story was good, but then you have to suffer through the cutscenes, but the cutscenes are what gives you the story?
Yeah.
It's like, it's
wait
fine.
A minute.
And I'm like, this literally is one of the best stories. Like, I have so much nostalgia for other games. I will never deny that. But, like, playing it firsthand now, I'm like, I already know these cutscenes, and I'm like, wow, I'm so invested.
Like, I think he has some valid points. Like, I have been very vocal about my distaste for the second visit to Skyview Temple in the game. I feel like it's a padding, it's unnecessary, it's not interesting. I think, you know, there are some valid criticisms, but I just feel like so many of these criticisms are like he's just trying to find any point he can to write it out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there's so many good things. Like, I can't believe he criticized the music. The soundtrack is just wonderful.
Yeah, that's to me.
That's
don't think the movement is stiff or limited, which they say, because it's not anymore. Yeah, it's not any more stiff than any other Zelda game.
No.
You know? Yeah, I don't know. I just like, okay, the sky is empty. That's a fair point. Sure. But then, you know, pretty much everything else, I don't know. I do feel like there are some good points here, like with the over tutorialization of everything was a huge point in the original, but then I feel like it was toned way down in this version. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
I get the vibe that there were a ton of people who absolutely hated, with every fiber of their being, the original on the Wii. And so they claimed that they went into HD with an open mind, but didn't. Which, like, if you just don't enjoy the game, you don't enjoy the game. No one can fault you for just not enjoying it. But you have to wonder if some of that is just not being open-minded and just refueling that hate of, I always hated this game and I always will. And it's like, you didn't even try with the HD version, I don't think. Just like when people ask me why Ocarina of Time's my favorite, I'm like, first and foremost, nostalgia. I'll never deny that. Now here are my other points.
See, the music thing is like, the music in that game, the majority of people thought it was so good that it had sold out concerts for like 5 years.
That's a good point.
Yeah. That and him being like, the story is fine. I was like, those were the two most redeeming points people had when they were trying to give the original Skyward Sword the benefit of the doubt. Their main two things were great story, great music.
Yeah. I remember when I played it on the Wii for the first time, there were some story moments there that made me so giddy because you're learning about these things and it's really the origin point for so many elements in the series. And just a spoiler warning, although I'm sure we all know this here. I'm sure everybody in the chat already knows this, but spoiler warning anyways. like everything with the Master Sword, that was like the big thing for me, and because we'd never seen its origin beforehand, right? And I don't know, like I just feel like there's so many story moments in that game, even just the smaller moments, like with actually because we were streaming today, Geek reminded me, Skipper, his whole thing, like you go to his house, there's his dead family there, and you know, there's just like all this. But there's like the pictures on the wall of like his glory days on this boat and stuff like that.
Titanic remake.
Exactly, and it's like it's never like the game's outright like the skipper was so beloved and he was such a good captain or whatever, and now everyone's dead, you know. But it's just all through subtext, right? You know, just picture on his wall, and he's got a note from his kid on the wall that says "Good luck at work, Dad," and it's like, I don't know, it's. I don't know. It's there's so many nice and everything with Groose as well. I love Groose. He is on the loose. Yeah, it's
good character development.
And
no
that's
one
a lot
complained about Groose though.
There were no complaints about Groose. That's
no
true.
one said a bad thing about our man.
No,
you can't.
You cannot.
All right. Time for the Zelda Mailbag. It's like Blue's Clues. Everyone in the chat, if you want to, some people already did, but if you want to quickly give us what you rated Skyward Sword HD, 1 out of or 0 out of 10. We can't read big things, but we can glance over and see how many 9s and 8s or 2s and 3s there are, so we can get an idea of the chat. But it's time for the end of the podcast, the Zelda Mailbag. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can have your questions answered first. And if we have time left, then we go to the live chat. So we will each try to do a couple, depending on how long this lasts. But the first is from Brandon, whose user... Actually, I think Brandon put in all 3 of these.
Not in our...
Yeah, there's three questions here from Brandon.
Yeah. Except 2 of them are actually kind of the same.
Are they?
I'm just gonna say Brandon's a legend, though. So
well,
so
one. I think I got one
They're...
from Patreon and then another from the Discord. So he may have put the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
might have just put it on both.
Yeah, they're the same question, but kind of worded differently. So I'm just deleting one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one from Patreon says, I'd be curious to see a video or maybe just a discussion on the podcast talking about how the inevitable and still unannounced remakes of games we haven't gotten yet could be improved. For example, if we got Ocarina or Majora remake or HD port of 3DS, what could be added to improve the games on the Switch? Same for the Oracle games. So with this, you guys can answer if you want, but we've answered it so many times that what I still included this to say that I will, instead of people having to listen to the podcast of us answering it or going back to look at one, I was going to make an official scripted video that has a bunch of the stuff that we've all said in past podcasts and then just have it in its own video. That way, because if someone wants to look up us talking about what we want from the Oracle games, they may not know where to find it. But if they can just type in, like, what would we change of Oracle games or whatever, then it'll pop up and it'll be an official video, so people won't have to keep asking this question. But Daniel, do you want to take the next one from Brandon?
Yeah, so Brandon, Nod Narb, question for the podcast. We know next to nothing about the story of Breath of the Wild 2, but if you had to guess, what do y'all think the general plot will be? Also, using only what we've seen in the trailers, what would you have the plot be? Thanks. So kind of just general guess.
We've answered the first one, what we think it would be, but I don't think we've ever said what we want it to be.
I just want to be surprised, you know? That's really what I want.
It's the body of Tingle.
The body of Tingle's corpse. He couldn't
become the hero, so he became the villain.
Can't think of anything like plot-wise that I'd really want. Like, I'm mostly just thinking that I want them to kind of use what they have in a way that's creative and breathe new life into it. But I don't know what we're gonna see with dehydrated Ganon. I don't know where that goes.
There's a few
I guess
interviews. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna say I guess I want to see Ganon get rehydrated, but that's about it.
There's a few interviews like right after Breath of the Wild released where he sparingly sort of talks about ideas that he has for like the next Zelda game, but at that point you don't know if he means the next Zelda game is in like Age of Clams or Breath of the Wild 2 or something completely different. But they're kind of interesting.
You're kind of interesting.
I know.
I feel like guessing the plot is, you've got Zelda's in trouble, evil zombie Ganondorf. They probably find him somewhere underground, and I think Link gets maimed a bit, and he has to fuse with that magic arm thing, and then there's Sky Island somehow. That's like I really want the plot to be something that I can't predict, to be honest. So even though I feel like that's probably the first 50% of the story right there. So I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I think I think a huge part of it will be the idea they said that they wanted to do for the original. When they were talking about it before the original Breath of the Wild released, where they kept on saying that they wanted it to, or they were making it a dynamic overworld, so things would change depending on what you would do. And they used the example of like clearing out a bokoblin camp, but that wasn't dynamic to where it changed anything in the game. Like it just there's no camp there, but then like a one blood moon later, it's still there. I think their idea for that dynamic thing is they had ideas of how to build different houses, not just like Terrytown, but like you'd be able to take those block things and kind of like build your own houses in town or whatever. And and that kind of just became Terrytown. But I think what they wanted to do is, with all of Hyrule destroyed, like you go into an area, clear out all the enemies, and then you can start investing to rebuild that town the way that it used to look, like an Age of Calamity. That's what, like, that's not anything in the trailer, but that's based off the original game and interviews. And yeah, they said they've been listening to fans and stuff, which is why they went from Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and then Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild. And I think that's something that a lot of fans have said they wanted in Breath of the Wild 2 is not having everything destroyed again. So if they give you the option of going back through and doing that, then yeah.
It's hard to say, like, going with everyone else said, like, what I want, because I'm like, I do want to be surprised. I know story isn't the first thing. Like, gameplay always has to be first, and I agree with that concept. Always very important. And their stories are always good. But I would love to just have some sort of jaw drop moment that literally no one expects. I would love to have one of those moments where you go, wait, what? Like, imagine, I mean, obviously I already know it, but imagine, I would love to have seen people's faces when they find out 𝐓𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐻 wasn't a person, 𝐓𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐻 was Demise's sword. Like, being like, you're the equivalent to Fi? Like, I imagine there was a lot of, oh, I'm sorry, what? Like, that's creepy. But I would love to have a jaw-dropping moment. I don't know why I keep having this idea, and I'm sure someone else has said it, that, you know, the whole reason that this has been going on for so long, like, the last time the Calamity Rose was 10,000 years ago is because Ganondorf hasn't, like, Demise hasn't reincarnated because he's been there the entire time. So I can imagine there being this situation where it's like, it's something in Hyrule's past, and almost them pulling a Frozen 2 thing where it's like, it's something in Hyrule's past that's preventing them from moving on because they somehow trapped him there, whatever it is. I don't know. Just be interesting. But yeah, all that to say, I would just love to have a moment where I'm like, I know gameplay is most important, but I would love to have a moment where pretty much every Zelda fan goes, I didn't see that coming, and not good Ganondorf. That doesn't
Not good Ganondorf. Oh my goodness. I had such a comment about that on one of my videos about the good Ganondorf theory. And someone was like, your whole argument rests on the idea that Ganon and Ganondorf are the same being. and I don't think they are. And I'm like, dude, you'd literally see him transform in front of you.
Into Beast Ganon 2 times.
like,
His
it
name
just
comes
happened.
from
games.
his other name.
I'm like, how? Why would you not think they're the same dude? They're
It's like how
like
Daniel could also be a Dan or an eel.
I could be an eel.
Yeah, and it's like
I don't know.
when they resurrect Ganon, like Ganondorf just also happens to come with him.
Yeah, it's just like such a weird notion to me, but yeah, that's Occam's razor is the rule I like to live by with Zelda theories. The less assumptions you have to make, the better, right? So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, but
Tubes?
yeah, it is hard just to like say like what I want for like Geek said. It's just like you want something that's gonna just kind of blow you away, not something expected. It would be cool. You kind of gave me an idea with the reincarnation thing. What I got reminded of is I'm gonna talk about Avatar again because I love that show so much. But there's a moment in Avatar where Aang, who is the Avatar, is captured, and he's like, okay, well, what, are you gonna kill me or what? And the guy that captured him is like, no, I'm not gonna kill you, because if I do, then you'll just be reincarnated, and then we'll have to find you again. So I'm just gonna keep you prisoner instead. And
Oh gosh.
I kind of wonder if that's what's happened here. They didn't kill Ganon
Yeah.
because they didn't want him to reincarnate or something like that. So they just kept him sort of mummified, barely alive down in this crypt. And then obviously that didn't really pan out, but
Because of the calamity.
exactly.
Really good
So
thought, though.
it is a thought.
It's like, I see what you were doing there. It's as if they discovered the stuff of Skyward Sword, like demise, and they were like, oh, well, if he doesn't die, he can't reincarnate. And it's like, oh, but now calamity. That's a problem.
Exactly. No, it's
He found a way. Or
Also,
I don't know. I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but I was also thinking, like the whole I want to be surprised thing. There was this channel. I don't watch them hardly at all anymore, but I used to watch Super Carlin Brothers, and I actually had to stop watching their movie predictions because they would literally get everything right.
Oh,
Just
really?
because they were
Okay.
so invested. Like it was Marvel movies, and the Fantastic Beast stuff. They would be like, well, what if it's this, and they're like, well, we think because of A, B, and C, it's gonna be this, and I'd be like,
Oh my
that's not gonna
gosh.
happen. Or new Disney Pixar movies, they were just so invested. And I'd go watch the movie and be like, what the heck, they were right. Like in The Incredibles 2, they guessed that the woman was the evil one, that it wasn't the guy. They were like, no, this is this subversion of expectation. And they figured out before the movie came out, her
Wow.
name is Evelyn Devers. That means evil endeavors. So they figured it out. They
Oh
were
my
like,
gosh, that's so on the nose, and I never noticed.
yeah, Evelyn Devers. They were like, it's her, blah, blah, blah. And,
Oh
you
my
know, that way you
gosh.
have one woman combating another. And I was like, shh. And I watched it and I was like, I can't watch their predictions anymore.
Wow.
Because they spoil it somehow. And every time they're like, oh my gosh, we got it. It's like, what?
That's wow. That's incredible.
Just an example of like, maybe I shouldn't make predictions because what if I'm right? I'm not them. But I'm like, I don't want to be right. I don't want to know.
Maybe that's how we are sometimes, though. We've predicted a lot of stuff on this channel, I think.
Yeah.
That has ended up coming to pass. So
Usually it's me just flat out going, I would love Link's Awakening. Oh my gosh, we got Link's Awakening. What if they made a Zelda Game & Watch? Oh my gosh, they made a Zelda Game & Watch. They're gonna make Pokemon DLC. Oh, 2 days later. It's always me just going, that would be cool, and then it happens.
that's pretty cool. Yeah,
Tubes
still waiting
comes
on that
WarioWare.
DLC.
That's true, the Animal Crossing DLC. They let me down on that one. I got too cocky with that one.
Jesse's right though about the WarioWare.
Yeah, that was like the next morning.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
Should we do another question?
Yes.
Because I probably
Yeah.
want to get going in 15
Yeah.
minutes-ish,
Alright.
so.
I
That's
want to
fair.
at least take one from the live chat.
I have one,
Okay.
unless you have one.
No, I haven't picked one yet. No, I already read
okay.
one. Next is Geek.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I don't have one yet.
Okay, I'll go
Okay.
then.
Go-
Well,
No,
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah, do
next
the
as in
way you
after you. Sorry.
Oh.
I should have made that clear.
So G-Link in the chat asks, do you believe Nintendo/Grezzo is aware of the fans' negative views towards the gameplay changes in Majora's Mask 3D? How likely do you think they are to reverse the changes? And in my opinion, I think that they're pretty good at listening to what people like and don't like and have made some pretty decent quality of life changes going forward. So I'm hoping that they hear what people have said about the remake, or like, yeah, the 3D remakes, and take that to heart when they release it and kind of take all of the things that suck out and keep the things that help with quality of life.
Yeah, or like ideally there would be kind of a blend of things. So for example, like a lot of the issues that I have with Majora's Mask 3D is not always necessarily them adding new things, but it's when they toss the old ideas out completely. And so the Zora swimming is my infamous is so good in the N64 version. And there is a learning curve because it's fast, but it's really precise and it's really really just satisfying to do. It's really fun. And then you get this slow, weird, awkward swimming in the 3DS version. It's just like human swimming. It's like it's like the Twilight Princess swimming, but like if you're a Zora, you should be able to swim fast. And then they allowed you to swim fast, but at the cost of magic, which makes no sense. Zoras shouldn't consume magic to swim fast, right? And so I don't know, like it's just like a weird limitation to add. If they wanted to add slower paced swimming, maybe it was because of visibility on the 3DS screen. Like that makes sense. They could have just added an additional sort of layer to swimming. Like, and I saw one video. It's a rather infamous video. It's the Narrows is Majora's Mask 3D a bad remake video, which I probably watch every 6 months or so. But he talks about a proposed change, which would be like if you just tap the button, he'll start swimming slowly, or if you hold down the button, then you'll swim fast. Just like a little tweak like that is all you really need. So I don't know, like there's a lot of things where they just toss them out, and they were so busy adding in not one but two fishing holes that there were other things that actually could have been fixed that weren't, right? And I don't know. There's just I could go on. I have gone on.
I can tell you who to blame.
But
I can tell you the exact person to blame.
Is it Aonuma? Because I feel like
a lot of people. I've had a lot of comments from people blaming Aonuma, but there's an interview where he says with Ocarina of Time 3D, they were all so familiar with it and loved it so much that it didn't need like a lead director. They could just go off the usual team at Grezzo. And then with Majora's Mask 3D, because it was so like Aonuma said that he thought it was bad, not as in a bad game, but just the way all the systems work with the Bomber's Notebook and 3 days, and you feel rushed and stuff like that. So he felt the team needed someone in charge to be the decision behind everything, instead of just having a bunch of people communicating with each other to make the changes. And that person was probably going to get it wrong, but Mikaharu Oiwa. I don't know. Oiwa. But he was the director for a bunch of games, but for Majora's Mask 3D and Ocarina of Time 3D, he went from just being the design director in Ocarina to the chief director in Majora's Mask. And then after that, he wasn't a director again until Link's Awakening.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, Link's Awakening had changes in the Switch version that were, I think, really good changes, right?
Yeah, I think they were a lot more tamed as well.
Yeah. Just like adding in additional secrets and making the controls more modernized and things like that. And of course, graphical improvements. are all good changes, but it's an incredibly faithful remake, all things considered. Majora's Mask just doesn't feel that way to me. It doesn't feel like a faithful remake. It feels like they were trying to just focus on accessibility for, like, just trying to make it easier. Accessibility isn't bad. Accessibility is good in games, but they were just trying to make it easy, and they kind of lost the heart and soul of the game. Because I always felt like Majora's Mask was designed for people who finished Ocarina of Time already.
Yeah,
and yeah, and I like right from the start, you don't have to find a sword and shield, you just start with it, right? And Link's doing all these cool flips and stuff when you're running around and jumping platform to platform.
Power of that extra 4 megabytes.
Yeah. Exactly. And it just feels like they're like you have to go into the game, having already done all this stuff. That's like the intention. So it should be harder than Ocarina of Time. It should be, just by its nature.
All of the eyeballs.
And that's the boss fights. Oh, the boss fights.
I knew I was starting something when I said eyeballs. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say eyeballs.
You did it. Oh.
What, Jesse?
You can ask.
Okay, how do you guys feel about the side quests in Majora's Mask? Good or bad?
Good.
Amazing.
I'm not a huge fan of side quests, but they do them well.
Someone left a comment saying, like, I forgot what it was, but it was replying to another comment, and it was like, blah, blah, blah. This is why nobody likes Majora's Mask, because its side quests are the worst. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? People usually put Majora's Mask in, like, their top 10 list, like, at the very top.
Yeah.
Specifically for the side quests. So, like, I didn't understand what he was trying to say. And I was like, your opinion isn't everyone's opinion.
Yeah, like to say I didn't like it because of the side quests is one thing, but to say nobody liked this game because of the side quests is just actually incorrect. Like I don't think, like, a lot of people say like side quests are the whole game. I don't think that's true, because the main story is really deep and it's a really well written story, and even those main 4 dungeons are, I think, really well designed dungeons. I think they're fantastic. But
I think they took all
especially
the best
Stone Tower
ideas that was left out of Ocarina and just like put them together.
Yeah, well, and also because, like, look at the difference between Inside the Deku Tree and Woodfall Temple, right? Inside the Deku Tree is like totally a tutorial dungeon, right? But because they made Ocarina of Time as much an entry point for new players, and they made Majora's Mask for people who had already beaten Ocarina of Time, and so they don't have to tutorialize anything unless it's new mechanics. So they can give you a far more challenging first dungeon, and we see that with Woodfall. It's like it's a far more in depth and well designed dungeon. Not to say that Inside the Deku Tree is bad. I think it's a great tutorial dungeon, but I think it's great at being a tutorial dungeon, right? And so if you're experienced, you could just breeze through it in 5 minutes and you're good. I think Kayla did breeze through it in like 5 minutes when we did that race that like years ago.
I'm sorry, what did I breeze through?
You beat all of us when we did the Ocarina of Time race. It was like getting through the Deku Tree.
Oh yeah, we only had like that
I'm so speedy at games.
Yeah.
Well,
like if it's a game that I've played, over and over and over again, it's actually crazy. Like one time I sat down to play Ocarina of Time, and before I knew it, it had been a day, and I beat the game in one sitting, and I was like,
"Damn,
I like this." And like, I'm not trying to speedrun; I'm just playing. I did that with Banjo-Kazooie the other night. I finished like 3 levels in the course of like an hour and a half-ish.
My mom, brother, and I used to race to see how much we could get done in Banjo-Kazooie in an hour. We'd each be slotted an hour.
That is so
It'd be like, Travis would go, my mom would go, I would go, and see who could get the most done in an hour.
Time.
Oh yeah, well, it was funny because we wouldn't watch each other. We have to be in separate rooms because, otherwise we might be like, oh, that was a good trick they did. I'm going to steal that.
That's really cool.
But Banjo-Kazooie is a good example of because Kayla, actually, you were talking earlier about the Xbox version, right? Or the Xbox 360 version?
Yes.
And that's a great example of a remake kind of done right. Like it's more of just like a port that's kind of updated, but like they kept the general structure of the game the same, slightly up to the graphics is just like a resolution bump, right? Gave you widescreen. But then they took what was genuinely a criticism or an issue with the original game, which was like the notes reappearing, and just fixed that. But they didn't like. It's not like they over tutorialized a bunch of stuff or added a bunch of dialogue from Kazooie that's going to explain everything to you or like anything like that, right? They kept what was good. They fixed some things, but they kept the soul, the heart of the game intact, right?
Well, also all of that tutorial was still there. It was totally optional. Like I got to skip Bottle's entire you didn't have to go around and
Bottles, he dies.
In the second one.
Oh, that's later. Yeah, that's the next game.
Yeah, I didn't have to go around and like relearn all of these moves like at the very beginning of the game. I didn't translate the knowledge very well to Xbox. I was like, I know how to do this, and then I was like, wait a minute, I actually don't know what buttons I need to press.
Oh no. Yeah. But in Majora's Mask 3D, Tattle is way too helpful, in my opinion. In the N64 version, she's reluctant. You ask, like, you target an enemy and you ask her, and she's like, what, you've never heard of a key spore? Who the hell are you? Like,
yeah.
You know?
That's a classic example of Nintendo and the way that their games have progressed to be more kid-friendly, I've noticed. Like, Majora's Mask was notorious for that. It was very, like, how dare you? I don't want to be your friend. And so was Animal Crossing on Gamecube. A very brutal game. Whenever I think of older Nintendo games were so brutal. Yeah,
man.
The villagers got angry and upset so much easier, whereas in New Leaf, they're like, please stop hitting me with... Or New Horizons, they're like, please don't hit me with the net. And then they just walk away. My mom and I would go around and make all the villagers cry because we thought it was funny.
Oh, no. Now you're the mean one.
No, I was. But it was, yeah. You would be like, sorry, I can't help you. And they'd be like, I hate you. You can't help me. It's true.
But with Tattle's level of helpfulness, that ties back to the sort of the idea of this being the harder Zelda game, right? Like you can really rely on Navi in Ocarina of Time to give you a tip for every single enemy and every boss, except for, I think, Ganondorf, who she can't target for some reason. But Tattle, like, there are some enemies where if you ask Tattle for advice, she'll literally be like, I don't know what his point is. Like, she will just like say, I don't know. And then even Majora's Mask, when you fight Majora's Mask and you ask Tattle for advice, she's like, I think what she says is something to the effect of like, well, just think about how you fought enemies in the past. And it's like, that doesn't actually help, right? So it's just like the game, it forces you to think for yourself more in the original. But in especially the first like tutorial section of the 3DS version, like Tattle really steers you in the right direction. You know, it's almost Phi levels of annoyance. Wii edition Phi levels of annoyance. So I've talked long enough about this.
Yeah, Geek, you want to do the next one?
I'm so sorry.
Our final question, I guess?
Well, I thought we needed to go soon, and I honestly didn't find a question.
Okay.
So.
Well, in that case...
All right. Peace.
Every time we talk about...
sorry.
No, it's like every time Majora's Mask comes up, you should just make your conclusive Majora's Mask video to where you can just link it to people.
The when I did the dungeon series of Majora's Mask, my final
like
one, the Stone
20
Tower
hours
one, the last
just hating Majora's Mask.
It's I think there's about 2 hours worth of videos to talk about the game, and I think I dedicated the last like 5 or so minutes of the final video just comparing the two versions head to head and going on about what I don't like about the 3DS version. So it's I've definitely talked about it before, so I apologize for ranting so much. I never played Animal Crossing on the GameCube as well, so I don't have that brutal experience. So oh well,
it's all right.
I think that'd be in the same sentence. Brutal experience, Animal Crossing.
Whenever I think of Animal Crossing on the GameCube, I think of that one like meme that was like, I got my video games taken away because my favorite villager moved out and I barfed on the carpet. I cried so hard I barfed on the carpet.
Oh wow.
Well, if people loved watching the podcast and hearing you talk about video games and stuff, where could they find you?
You can come hang out with me on my Twitter at @Chublima. Life is still too chaotic. I have not found time to stream, but instead have found joy in playing video games on my couch and not having all of you tell me how bad I am at video games. And instead have my boyfriend go, Kayla, why are you so mad at Bird and Bear? So you can also find me on twitch.tv/Chublima with an extra A. I just haven't started streaming again yet. I clearly need to reorganize the way that my room is set up. This light situation with my curtain isn't working, so stay tuned. I will keep you posted. Or you can find me weekly on the podcast here at Game Over Jesse.
And the Geek Apprentice, where could people find you? You were having your own Skyward Sword stream like an hour or two ago. No, an hour ago we were doing this.
Or like
5 hours ago.
more than 5. Or no, not more than 5. No, yeah. I can't think straight. Anyway, yes, you can find me here on YouTube at The Geek Apprentice. I'm streaming Skyward Sword at the current. I also sometimes do Ring Fit Adventure. That's a time. And I also make videos right now. I'm in the middle of a series that was inspired by Daniel's Dungeon series, where I look at common themes in Zelda dungeons and compare like the music for each of those. So like I've done forest themed dungeons and I've done water themed dungeons, specifically 3D Zelda games. I should clarify because I haven't played all of the 2D ones. I don't have a stream schedule, unfortunately. Never have, probably never will, especially since I'm about to start work up again next Tuesday, and my only free time is sometimes Tuesday nights and sometimes Saturday nights, sometimes Sunday nights. So it'll really depend. I also have an Instagram where I post stuff there. And I have a second channel, but it has literally nothing to do with this, so you can go figure that stuff out on my channel if you want to see it, but it has nothing to do with my channel. So yeah, I talk about games and different things. And we're getting closer to Hunger Games month, so that's exciting. Anyway.
Daniel, Mr. Capt Bergerson, where can people find you?
Yeah, everything. All the social medias are Capt Bergerson, CAPTBURGERSON. You can follow my Twitter if you want just updates on what I'm posting or what videos I'm doing or when I'm streaming, or if you just want to, see my opinions about things, then sometimes you might not agree. That's fine. Then yeah, everything Twitter, I post a lot on there, probably too much. My stream schedule is changing soon, but for the time being, every Wednesday night is Breath of the Wednesday. That includes tomorrow, so I'll hopefully see many of you there. And we just gonna be doing some side quests tomorrow. But yeah, we do a Breath of the Wild stream every week. I didn't last week because I had some issues with my capture card, but that's all sorted now. And then we've been also streaming Metroid on Saturday nights. So join us for that. Otherwise, my YouTube channel, I've been pretty good about it this year, but I try to have a weekly video out every Friday, including my dungeon design series, which is probably my great work right now. But our video on the sand ship is coming out this Friday, and it's a great dungeon. I love the sand ship. So hopefully you guys will catch that. And I probably didn't forget anything, but that's all my stuff. So
you did forget the most important thing.
Yeah, you're
I'm
apparently
also
no longer
here
a son
on
of a
this
burger.
channel.
No. Not anymore. If you keep forgetting.
What did I say that made me not son of a burger? Because I didn't say the whole thing. I just spelled it. I didn't say the CAPTBURGERSON, as in I'm the captain and there's a burger and that's my father.
Yes.
Thank you. I was a little upset.
I'm sorry. I forgot to say it. I usually say it all the time. I guess he's no longer son. Oh, you're right. Oops. My bad.
Right. And I am Game Over Jesse. Everything of mine is Game Over Jesse. And I know Tubes is going to kill me, but give me 2 seconds. I promise. There was one thing the last time someone left a thing and we didn't read it. They messaged back and was like, hey, I left a thing.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
So
is it
I
iTunes review?
Yes, so I want to make sure
Ah.
that we
No rush.
read it.
So while you open that, actually, a quick shout out to Game Over Jesse, as I am officially
Me?
sponsored by him.
What? No.
He is currently letting me play Psychonauts 2, which is very exciting. He let me borrow it. And I 100% recommend. I only played a couple hours of it last night, and so far the game, it has lots to offer. You can collect pins, and it customizes basically all of your attacks. It gives you a really good kind of description of what happened in Psychonauts 1, in case you want to hop into it and go straight into Psychonauts 2. And yeah, I mean, it's very much has held very true to the first game. It has the same vibe, same energy, kind of similar feeling soundtrack, but it's still really good. And yeah, if you haven't played Psychonauts, go play it or go watch someone stream it.
It was one of the games.
Are you gonna stream it?
I don't know. I'm having a
Do
lot of
it.
fun playing games by myself right now.
Oh, I see. Well, we got to
Maybe.
figure out when we're doing It Takes Two, which was requested by
Yes.
a
Oh,
viewer,
that is
Moss.
an
I need to-
amazing game. Yes.
As soon as I can fix my stream setup, then I'll probably start arranging actual times to do streams.
Sweet.
So-
All right, give us the review.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
But I want to say first that Psychonauts 2 is really cool because it was one of the games that we got to go behind the closed doors and the developers played it and showed it off to us, and it was really, really amazing.
It was very cool. They gave us a toothbrush.
Yes.
They did give us toothbrushes. It was really weird.
And I got these pins.
Oh, nice. Yes. So the review, you can go to iTunes, and if you leave us a review on iTunes, we will read it off. Usually at the beginning of the podcasts, but I forgot because for some reason I can't copy and paste these. So yeah, this comes from CPC Green on August 29th. So 2 nights ago. Absolutely worth a listen. 5 stars. Been following this crew for a while, and they have the best podcast and YouTube videos to keep you entertained. Keep it up, everyone. Mage. So maybe Mage is his username in the
Thanks,
Discord or the YouTube?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
is it-
know Mage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
Hey, Gray Mage.
Mage is
Oh,
great. One
okay.
of my patrons as well, and
Nice.
super amazing human.
Yeah, very active in all the Discords from what I've noticed. I don't pay attention to your Discord, sorry, Jesse.
No, it's cool.
But he's super active in mine.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.